And we are back. Just like that. Again, wonderful show by Carolyn. I really enjoyed doing that. It still amazes me she was able to make so much in such a little amount of time. And we ended up ordering a couple things. After my accident, one of the things that I absolutely love, but I can't eat because of when I crushed my face, losing the teeth and everything, is corn on the cob. And so they have like a corn on the cob stripper thing. And I get to still enjoy one of the things I love the most, and I haven't been able to eat very well. You know, I mean, yeah, you can always use a knife, but it ends up a lot of times just crushing the corn, and then you have cream corn, which I have no problem with cream corn. I'm one of those wackadoos. I love cream corn. I love cream peas, all that stuff. But if I want corn on the cob, I'd rather have it taste good. So we ended up ordering one of those. I wanted to show something here real quick. Welcome back. My name is Zach Clayton, president and founder of Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PAC channels. Community Mission to Rescue 22 is our 22-hour program that is focused on the men and women who have served this country, that when they get out and when their service is done, they feel a little lost. Okay. They don't feel like things are the way that they left. Maybe they just don't feel like they've got the training that they needed. And it's just, this is a way that we can take and we can help them to understand that we're here. Okay. And that's really what we're trying to focus on. We're trying to focus on putting together ideas on how to talk to them, to someone who's contemplating making that end of life decision. And these skills are transferable. It's not just for people in the military. You know, this is for civilian life as well. Look, we are, as I've stated, we are focusing on our veterans today. But that doesn't mean that we're going to leave anybody else out, because the thing is, suicide. People make that decision. That's a decision everyone else lives with. Let's try to see what we can do to help them make make an educated decision to try to help themselves and further their lives. So that's what this program is all about. One of the reasons why, and I hear this all the time, because President Biden the other day said we're losing 18 a day. There are numbers out there that are as high as 44 a day. Well, how can it be this way? Well, let me tell you. One of the reasons why it's so high is because different people count different things. Are you going to count an overdose? As I said before, I do I think it was about 23 years ago, I lost a family member to accidental suicide because it was a drug overdose. It was something they did to themselves. When President Biden used the number 18, he was not counting, he was using the number that they're not counting accidental suicides. They were counting suicides in the other way. This right here is very telling in my mind. This is from the Military Times. And it just simply states veteran suicide rates may be double federal estimates, study suggests. Meaning that until we come up with how do I want to put this? Until we come up with an agreed upon formula to count suicides, the numbers are always going to be a little bit different. Okay. A lot of the things that I'm going to be talking to you about for the next 52 minutes are coming out of the VA's guide. Look, the VA is, well, the VA is what it is. It's a government-run entity that is going to try to make themselves look a lot better than what, they are. The government, they're not going to sit there and they're not going to bash themselves saying, "Oh no, we're not helping anybody." Well, of course they're not going to say that. I just put the link in for this Military Times article because I'm not going to go through and read it all to you. But right here's an article that you can go and look at, and you can see some of the differences that you're going to find when people are counting the suicide rates. Because, like I said, it's one of those things that, you know what, you hear President Biden say that we're losing 18 a day. You hear me saying 44 a day. You hear somebody else saying, 47 a day, 38, whatever. There's not a number out there that's good. That's the point to all this. As you will soon see, as I'll soon tell you, there's approximately, and this was in the year 2000, there were approximately 81 individuals every day that took their own lives in society itself. That's not veterans, that's everyone. Okay. And that was reported in this handbook. And this is the National Veteran Suicide Prevention Annual Report from 2022 by the VA. Again, so all of these stats that are coming through here are directly out of this booklet. Once again, that's the National Veteran Suicide Prevention Annual Report. You can find it online if you would like to take a look. Suicide is one of the leading causes of death in our veterans. That's obviously true, or we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be talking about this. In 2020, there were 6,146 veteran deaths. Now, I said earlier that this is where, we're going to get some news that's positive. In 2020, the 6,146 deaths were 343 fewer than in 2019. In 2020, among U.S. veterans, the unadjusted rate of suicide was 31.7 per 100,000. That seems a little low. If when you think about it, that does seem a little bit low. And it's also a little confusing because we're in a position where in the 40s, during the 40s and the 50s, a male coming out of high school, it was the service. They joined the service. They were proud to join the service. Since Vietnam, it's not been as glamorous. And I think that a lot of this is my own opinion, okay, but I think a lot of this has to do with you grow up in a household where, the divisions are so severe now, so drastic now. Are you red? Are you blue? Are you, Republican, Democrat, Catholic, Muslim, whatever? What are okay? Well, I'm this way. I'm pro peace. I don't want to deal with this. I'm not going to go to. Look, I don't like this president. I'm not going to join. Right now, 133,000 of every 3 million. 33 million. Sorry about that. Out of every 33 million, only 133,000 youngsters are joining the army. This is just the army, okay? And every year. That is, well, first off, as a person who's a little concerned about the way that the world is going right now, that number being that low is stupid scary. Secondly, that really is telling when it comes to the numbers. So of all of these kids that are joining, 133,000 for every 33 million. That means at the end of the day, it's only about 100,000 of those kids that are walking out healthy, happy, and have a long life afterwards. That's it's a hard pill to swallow. It really is. Again, these These are kids that walk in, they raise their right hand, they give they give a dedication to our country. They give their lives to not the thoughts and beliefs of a president, it's the thoughts and beliefs of what our country was established. Yeah, maybe they walk in saying, "Hey, you know what? I love this president. I'm going to go join," or "Hell no, I'm not going to join because of this guy being our leader." But the truth is that usually when they go in, probably going to be there for more than one president. So that's just kind of a fact. But if we are losing 31 to 31.7 per one per every 100,000, you know, and we've only got 133,000 that are joining out of 33 million. That right there tells you that the numbers are drastically wrong. Suicide rates of veterans exceeded those of non veteran U.S. adults. So there are more U.S. adults that are committing suicide that have served the country than there are those who did not serve the country. In 2020, suicide was the 13th leading cause of death among veterans overall, and it was the second leading cause of death among veterans under the age of 45. Um, so that kind of gets you to the point where, I mean, this is when they're getting out of the service when they're young, and the timing is different, the era is different, the battlegrounds are different, you know it's there's no doubt that the our heroes from the Revolutionary War, they saw some crazy stuff. They saw stuff that a lot of us could not handle. It was a lot different than what they saw in the Civil War. Wars advance like everything else. Things get to be a little bit dangerous. So there was more depression when it hit to the Civil War. Plus, on top of that, you're fighting with someone possibly. Somebody in your family who decided that they didn't like, oh, I don't know, maybe the other side, maybe, when you have some crazy person in the Senate right now talking about how, well, there needs to be a divorce between the, red and blue. Shut up. No, there doesn't. No, we're one country. Let's work that way. We've got wars right now where our kids going and seeing uh, different cultures. And this is one of the great things about our cultures. As a parent, we're not going to sit there and throw a bomb in our diapers, in our baby's diaper, and have a mom walk the baby down in front of people because there's nobody, no who's going to suspect this, and it's going to blow them up. That's going to mess a kid up. That's going to mess anyone up. Wars change, meaning the issues change. And that's what this is talking about. There are going to be more U.S. adults that served that are going to take their life than there are those of us who did not serve. 2018 was the high water mark. Um, until up. This is up to 2020. Okay, it does take years for a couple years um, for the numbers to come out. Um, in 2020, there were 6,146 veteran suicides. Oh yeah, I've already talked about this. From 2018 to 2020, this is the good news. Suicide rates fell by 9.7%. This was also a larger percentage of decrease than non-veterans. So what this is so what that's telling you is that somebody's starting to listen. Somebody's starting to get it. The way we're letting these kids out, but we're not doing this right because when they get out of here, they're not ready for what's going on out there. You wouldn't take and let your 3-year-old take and go off into the world. Well, I guess some people would, but let your 3-year-old go off into the world, say, go get him, kid. You got this. It's all on you. Have at it. Go do what you're going to do. No training. They know one kind of, they have one kind of experience, and that is the experience of, hey, this is what they taught me in the service. Well, you know, they're not ready a lot of times. Them not being ready is one of the reasons why this happens. 2001, again, 23,579 veterans. Oh, I'm sorry, 6,001 veterans committed suicide. In that same time, it was 23,579 of non veteran adults. Huge gap there. It got all the way up into 2018, where there were 38,152 non veterans to 6,146. In 2001, it was 81 people a day. And I mentioned this earlier, I believe in segment 2, that 81 per day in 2001 and 101,000, I'm sorry, 121 in 2000. 2018 again was the high watermark. They had 127.4 per day. So it did raise by 40 people a day from 2001 to 2020. Now, again, we said that there is a silver lining in this, and that's from 2018 to 2020, it did drop. Uh, Not enough, but it did drop a little bit. So, over two decades, from 2001 to 2020, the veteran population decreased by 24.6%, from 25.7 million to 19.4 million. This is where that number, 133,000 out of 33 million, that's where that number gets hits home. Far fewer kids are joining the service because they're realizing that, you know what, they're not seeing the value in going in and possibly risking their lives, signing over their lives, and seeing little benefit in it. In the 40s and 50s, when you came home, you were a hero. Vietnam, you were a baby killer when you got home. Now it's just quite often where they're feeling like, well, I'm just forgotten. There's never been a case where female veterans even come close to touching the male veterans numbers. The high mark for females was in 2017, where they lost approximately 20 a day. And then again, 2018 was the high water mark, and we were losing 41 a day male heroes. The younger the veteran, the higher the level of probability. Um, the Army has the highest amount, and the Army surpassed everyone and has a higher amount quite significantly from 2011 on. Correction, sorry about that. It's 18 to 34-year-old. I'm reading the wrong. I got ahead of myself here. I was like, wait a minute, this isn't right. This isn't what I studied last night. Well, it's not, because I wasn't reading the right damn thing. 18 to 34-year-olds, the numbers there are drastically higher than anyone else. 35 to 54, 55 to 74, and then 75 plus actually are in the same area. 35 to 54, however, that's kind of the range where the downtick in 2020, there were less 35 to 54-year-olds that no, sorry, it was less 55 to 74-year-olds. There were less of them that lost their lives than anybody, any other range. So these things are hard to read. So, especially when you're not that smart. Oh, and you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning because you think people want to hear you talk. That might have something to do with it. Again, non-veteran adults, please remember non-veteran adults are the ones who are suffering the most. In 2020, the suicide rate was 34. 34.2 per 100,000 among white veterans. White veterans are higher than any other race. I don't know, and this is something that I probably should have thought of last night, but I didn't think about it. Could this be that there are more white folks in the service? Possibly. That's something that we would have to study. That was something we would have to look at. 30.2 per 100,000 among Asian, Native Hawaiian, or Pacific Islander veterans. 29.8 per 100,000 among our natives and Alaskan Native veterans. And 14.2 per 100,000 among Black or African Americans take take their lives. 2020, the suicide rate among white veterans was more than twice the rate of Black or African American veterans. Um, but again, from 2019 and 2020, it did decrease slightly in every category. The Hispanic population, 2019 was about 35 per 100,000, and in 2020 it dropped to 31.4. Um, so as you can see, there's not a race where the numbers don't suck. You add that number up, you put them all together, and then you're going to get a higher number than what we were told the other day. These numbers are really, really confusing, but the thing is, the truth is that, you know what, they are out there. They're they suck to read. it it hurts to read these numbers. But you really need to read these numbers because there's a reason for it. Our 9 organizations that I'm sorry, 8 organizations now that we're working with are aimed at trying to help everyone. Before I go on, because this next part is going to be a little uh, two-sided, okay? Um, I'll tell you which side I stand on, but I'm not going to tell you that I'm right because you know what? My beliefs are not and should not be yours. Diversity is the spice of life. We need to make sure that we care about what we do, who we are, and stop worrying a little bit less about everyone else. The methods of suicide are, well, overwhelmingly uh, it's hard to say because you know what? I believe in guns. I think guns are something that we need to find a way to stop the bad people from having as many guns as they have, and we need to get guns into the hands of good people who are willing to save, willing to put their lives online for people. Flat out, as a biker, I'm just going to say this. As a biker, I never, ever, ever, ever felt like I was in a bad situation when I was around people who carried guns. Could there have been a problem? Sure as hell there could have. Have there been problems? You bet. I was at one of my favorite adult beverage places was involved in a shooting at a bike night. Thank God nobody was killed, but there was a little boy, I can't remember, that did uh, suffer an injury just because of stupidity. Guns are more than double in some cases the way that people, the method they use to take their own lives, followed by suffocation, which is hanging or, just cutting off the airway to your brain, poisoning, and then other follow up uh, and in um, this study. Non veteran adults in 2020, 50.3 of the suicides were firearms, 12.8% were people who poisoned themselves, drug addiction, uh, more. Suffocation is the hanging of themselves, 28.4%, and then you have 8.4% of people who other uh, ended their life in other ways. 50.3% firearms for non-veteran adults. Veterans in the same time period, 2020. Veterans are at 71%, non-veterans 50.3. 71 to 53. 50.3. Drastic uptick in 2020. There were less veterans, obviously, who suffered with poisoning, 8.4 rather than 12.8. Suffocation was down 14.9, 28.4, and 8.1 for others. Women, 33% choose firearms in non veteran women, to 48.2% of women in the veteran world use firearms. 29.3 choose poisoning, 26.8 veteran. 27.7 for suffocation, and 19.2%. 9.6 non-veteran women use other means, and only 5.8% veterans. But again, the numbers are there. It's drastically higher for guns. Guns are effective life. Like them, don't like them, think that they can pass a bill that they cannot pass to where you can get guns out of everyone's hands. That's never going to happen. You're never going to have bad people say, "Oh, you passed a law, here's my gun." Bad people are bad people. That's just the way it is. What can you do? How about this? You know somebody who's got a gun and you notice that they start having issues, start talking angrily, they start separating themselves a lot further than they used to. Report it. It can be reported anonymously. Okay? They don't have to tell people who sent it, but they need you to tell them to pass along this information. They're probably going to get mad at you in the end, and they're going to ask, hey, well, maybe I was just having an off day. You didn't have to take and report me for all this. Well, we all have off days, but here's the thing. You're still here. I didn't feel like you would still be with us because of the way that you were acting that day. The truth sucks. Sometimes the truth just sucks. There are a lot of times that you don't want to hear the truth. You don't. But it's got to be heard. One of the organizations that we are working hard to support today is the Veterans Ranch out of Florida. JR will be joining us tonight. He just sent me a message a little bit ago. I cannot wait to talk to him. Look, I love this guy. I really, really, really do. He's a brother. He and I, and again, spoiler alert, he and I are going to talk a lot about, he runs equine therapy. I feel the same way about motorcycles. Veterans in those two areas, they have very, very specific, strong feelings towards motorcycles, horses. A lot of veterans ride, one of the two. I myself, I hate having to say it this way, was a very, very, very honored member through the auxiliary, because I did not serve. I rode under my grandfather's flags for the VFW Warriors, but we focused on helping people every day. We focused on trying, a comrade, a companion, ended up at one of the VA hospitals. We would ride together. We would support them. We would stand there while they were going through stuff. We watched one of our fellow members as he got sick, he withered away, and he passed away. When somebody would fall into a deep, dark hole, we started noticing, and we started talking about it. We started getting together and seeing how things were going. We'd find somebody who was particularly close with this individual, and we would get in there and we would try to change the direction of the mindset. I'm proud to say my time with the Warriors, we never lost anyone to self-inflicted loss of life. J.R. Smith with the Veterans Ranch, he and his family work very, very difficult, or very, very hard to do the same thing with horses. JR is going to tell you about how a horse can feel a fly on their back, how it's an animal that's not built to trust you. You can support organizations like the Veterans Ranch by simply shopping with our giving partners. You can find our giving partners by going to communitypayupforward.us. Once again, that's communitypayupforward.us, and go to verified giving partners, shop with one of them, and then simply use the QR code to turn in the receipt. Once you turn in that receipt, that giving partner has given us a referral award, and we turn around 80% of that referral award to the mission of your choice, like the Veterans Ranch. Please do help us as we when you pay your bills through VIV, Community Pay Up Forward. If you use the link communitypayupforward.justviv.com, support our org, you can support our outreach where we give free clothing, free housewares, free furniture to people in need. Well, they try to negotiate your bills, drop the bill that you owe, but they never charge you more than what the bill is. Okay. But the thing is that if they can negotiate the bill, if they can get a you savings, what happens is they ask for a small portion of the savings that they got you, and we get a portion of that savings as well, and that's going to help us stay alive. You don't really have to be much of a mathematician to know you don't make a lot of money by giving away free clothing. Not a lot of money at all in that, let me tell you. It's gratifying, but you don't make a lot of money doing that. So we do need some help. So please consider paying your bills through our link, which is communitypayupforward.justviv.com. facebook.com/let me try this again in English /support our org. And just by paying a bill, you can help us continue our mission. Time for a shot of coffee. Well, I don't really drink coffee, but you know what? I don't need it because now I'm going to be joined by one of my dearest friends. I love this lady. I really, really do. I get to spend 1 day a month with her every month, even though she's got to go and get surgery done, and she's not going to be joining us for a little bit. And so now I'm going to have to go 2 months going, gee whiz. I'm joking. I'm going to bug the hell out of her, even though, see, she made a mistake. She gave me her phone number, so I'm going to call her anyway. I'm going to call her and bug her. But Susan is a great friend of mine, and she's on Sean's show once a month, and she's very, very talented as a medium. But the thing is that this isn't about her mediumship. She's going to be introducing some new stuff that she's been working on, and I'd like to introduce you to a dear friend, Mrs. Susan Ahern. How are you doing, sweetie?
Kind of. Oh, thank you so much for letting me be a part of this.
Thank you for allowing us to do this. Without your support, we couldn't do it. Susan, you are a veteran. You're a hero. You were a cop. Oh, we got
Yeah.
bad internet connection.
Okay. Uh, and I've got earbuds if you can't hear me well, if that makes it easier.
Yeah, well, it just looks like we've got a weaker internet connection. I don't know what's going on there, but
I had a hard as well.
okay.
My
Yeah.
end looks pretty.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said my end looks pretty good while I'm looking on my side as far as my internet.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of one of those things. Guess what? I got full bars on my side as well, which probably means nothing to me. It's probably my internet, because we're getting this huge snowstorm of like a quarter of an inch that they canceled school for.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
Figured.
you were a police officer.
Correct. I got hit by a car directing traffic, and that kind of ruined that, which was, it was what it was. It is what it is, and that's kind of leading up to. And now I'm paying for it. Now that's what this kind of fixed some of the injury that I.
This and some of your other training though is what you're trying to focus on when it comes to your uh, naturopathic healing. This is something that you've been wanting to do for a long time, and now you're, dare I say, taking the jump, and you're looking to get into that. What are some of the things that you're wanting? How are you going to do it that's going to make it different? Where when somebody comes to you, they're going to be like, "going, this is great. This is so much better than taking and swallowing pills."
Before in forensic hypnotherapy. Yeah. I couldn't do what I wanted to do before. I'm in chronic pain. I'm in constant pain.
Yeah.
Then was that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Susan, I think that we're. Um, can we try to take and maybe cut and reconnect and see if that'll help a little bit, because I'm not getting hardly anything at all. Yeah, I just lost you. We're going to try to get Susan back on. Like I said, she's a huge part of why we're able to do what we're doing today. So I definitely want to get her back on. CapeCodHappyMedium.com is her website. We will not be talking about her mediumship today. We are focusing on her naturopathic healing. This is one of the reasons why we she wanted to come on. She wanted to make sure that we were able to spread the good word about what she's doing, and I'm very happy about doing that. You know, we're we're thrilled that we have our partnership today, and always with Things Network and everything that they're doing. But the truth is what we want to do is, we want to make sure that we uh, keep everything as close to healing as we possibly can, and so that's the reason why I'm very glad that we've got Susan, who's going to be trying to join us again very shortly. Um, but if you have any questions about mediumship, or you have anything, please feel free to contact her at CapeCodHappyMedium.com. Once again, we're going to try to get her back as soon as possible. Hopefully, this internet thing that's supposed to be the best internet in the world is not helping us out. If you would like to see everything that we're doing, we're asking you to go to communitypayitforward.us slash, whoa, that ain't right. Um, I don't know what happened here, but let me try this again. Copy, paste. Here you go. There you go in the chat. Communitypayupforward.us slash community mission to rescue 22. You will see when you go to this page this wonderful little button here. This button will help, and any monies that we get in today will be split between the 8 organizations that we are working with. Simply click it, and this form will come up. We just ask you to fill it out, put in your donation of whatever, hit your debit card or PayPal, click submit, and we will make sure that that money gets divided between everyone. So uh, Susan is going to try to join us. It looks like she's trying to join us. We're still struggling a little bit to get the picture, but let's keep our fingers crossed and hope this goes right. Um, I really think that this crazy weather that we've been having is messing something up. Um, so we're going to give this another minute. See what. Oh, well, we've got no picture, but we've got it where we might be able to hear her voice. When she's off mute, of course. There she is. You're on mute, sweetie.
All right. I think it's on my end. My service is bopping back and forth. And I'm at my house. How does it sound now?
Yeah, you're it's perfect now. It's great now. So, but anyway, so you were talking about how your accident and you were hit while directing traffic.
Correct. Correct. And so after that, I was like, okay, I have all this knowledge. I was doing forensic hypnotherapy, trying to go in and pull out information that could be useful in solving cases. Um, and now I couldn't use any of it. I was kind of forced into retirement, and I thought, well, what can I do with this? And so I used hypnotherapy for pain management, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I can access this at 3 o'clock in the morning, when my muscles are in spasm or I'm in acute pain. And I'd seen a lot of destruction that medication can do. It can help short term, but it really limits in the long term. And for me, my situation was going to be long term. And I thought, okay, that's not a choice I want to make. And so I was looking through more holistic therapies, going natural, and figuring out what pain is and what it does. And um, so it led me to doing studies with vibroacoustic therapy, which resonates, no pun intended, very well with my body. I've always been around music. I love music. I love sound. Um, Getting in and doing DJ stuff, working for the radio station. I just love music. And so I thought, okay, my body just really resonates to this. Let's figure out what this is about. And so I went to school, and out in California, Sausalito, California. And I learned all about vibration for a whole year. It was just absolutely amazing. It was the best ever. Have you ever experienced like crystal bowls or Tibetan bowls or anything like that, Zach?
Tibetan bowls, yes, and drums,
Oh yeah, like
or
mm, hmm.
yeah, yeah. I told you, and now I feel terrible because I told you I was going to do this, and I never did. But I told you I was working with two younger kids here in just south of Colorado Springs, Chad and Madeline. I'm hoping to get them on sometime today. But yeah, they do a lot of that holistic thing too, and yeah, we've done some of that, and it's amazing. Susan, and I want to ask this question because yeah, we're on Things Network, but we're also on the Pack channel, and there's some people who are probably sitting there going, "What? What do we say to?" Because you know what the truth is, when Chad did that, when Chad and Madeline did that, my headache lessened. Is it placebo? All I do know is my headache lessened. I've got a
Oh
migraine
no, I'm losing you.
every minute of every day. And I've had a headache every minute of every day for 8 years. But when they did that, my headache lessened. How do you respond to somebody
Where are
who
you?
says,
Where are you?
ah, you're full of it? Ah, you're gone. Now your voice is gone too. We'll get her back here in a minute. But I'm really interested in the answer to this question because like I said, I didn't expect anything from it. I didn't think anything was going to happen, but it did. All right, I think we got her coming back on. I'm hoping you can hear me, Susan. I can't see you yet, but you're off mute. So again, internet is a fickle thing. Um, we're kind of, you know, and it's kind of got us by the throat, and we can't do nothing. If it doesn't want to work, it doesn't want to work. So we're going to continue to try to work through this problem. But yeah, the one thing about people who suffer injuries, when you approach them and you tell them that, it's it's difficult, and it's a lot of times it's really dangerous to approach somebody and say, "Oh, I know exactly what you're feeling," because you might, but you don't, because every single one of us, we approach everything different. Okay, even if there's a little bit of similarity there, it's not always the same. So what works for one may not work for another, and that's the question I was asking Susan about, because you know what works for me may not work for you, and for somebody to sit there and say, you know what, you're full of it, don't do that. That's really defeating, and you don't know. You cannot say that. And we've got Susan back. Uh, hopefully got you back here. But Susan, how do you approach somebody who is a doubter?
Oh my gosh, I keep coming and going. Would it be better if I don't have on? Can you hear me? We can talk that way. I don't know if that
Yeah,
makes a
let's
difference. I
see if
just don't
you
want it
can
to be
turn the
distracting.
camera off, and it lessens the effect. But let's see if that would work without the camera. Maybe a little bit better.
Okay, let's do it. All
Okay.
right. So, all right. Let's see if we can stay this way for a little bit. Or our abilities, or it can't. You. I used to get that a lot with hip. You can't hypnotize me, and I think is choice. And to me, suffering is also a choice. And if I
Mhm.
can ease, whether that's emotional or physical suffering, then I want to do that for myself and for my family and for the people that have to deal with me. Uh, it's okay. That's okay if you don't want to try it. If it's you don't want to sit in drum circle or take 20 minutes out of your day to do breathing or on, that's okay. And physically, you'll try it. Always an
We
option.
really, yeah, we really should not tell somebody that it doesn't work.
It doesn't work for them. And so for me, because I can only speak for me, this works for me. And if I could share this with one person, that's exciting. So yeah, I think that's great. And then up to new cultures and new experiences and different places in the world. I mean, that's awesome. And so why not try something new? If what you're doing isn't working, then I would definitely say let's try something else.
What are
So,
you've got the drums, you've got the bowls. What are some of the other things? I know that Adrienne, she loves the crystals, and
mhm.
I know that she's studying crystals, and she's studying some of those other things that are helping people heal. What are some of the other things that you try to do? You do hypnosis?
Yeah.
do people, what kind of mindset does somebody have to be in for hypnosis to work? I unfortunately think we've lost her again. Yeah. Oh, I hate that we're losing her. I'm going to leave you up there, Susan, just in case we have a breakthrough again and we can get you back on. But right now, we've completely lost you. Um, so, a couple things that she said, and like I had mentioned before, it's you cannot look. Don't discount somebody else's feelings. If somebody's already feeling down, and you tell them, hey, you know, you're going to a charlatan, you're going to somebody who's just trying to, you know, fool you into think. If it's making them feel better, it's making them feel better. There's nothing that you can say that's going to change that. Why would you want to change that? If they're feeling better, let's encourage it. Let's help them out. That's what we're here to try to do, is make people feel better. Um, there's there's a chance it may not work, but there's a chance it will. So let's focus on the chance that it will, and let's stop the pessimism, and work towards healing instead of a lack of encouragement, okay, discouragement. If we do this, we can make a huge difference. So let's just make sure that we really, really support each other. Again, support is something that, I mean, if you're not going to support somebody, that's just going to cause problems. Susan again dropped off. I'm just not sure if we're going to be able to continue um, with her today. I really, really hope we are able to, but we will see here shortly. Um, we're just going to continue to go about what we're doing. Um, so, again, this is not a problem that only one section of society uh, suffers with. This is something that every single one of us, look, every single one of us has known somebody. Scary thing is, you may not even know that they're gone. I found out that people are gone years after they've done this, and it's just shocking because these are people who I thought were going to be there, make it through anything. But, you know, life is stressful. And, you know, some people can make it through, some people cannot. Facts are facts, and that's one of the terrible facts to all this. So, uh, like I said, it's oh, I wanted to get Susan on, but what we'll do is we'll end up bringing Susan on for one of our regular PAX shows, and we'll give her all the time that she needs to express what she does and some of the experiences that she has. Um, this is uh, this is this is a really hard subject. That's just all there is to it. This is a really hard subject, and it's really hard to uh, come up with anything encouraging, but we have to. You, it's not your it's not your responsibility to fix somebody else's problems. But why would you not? If it's within your grasp, why would you not? Okay, you see somebody suffering, it may only take a few seconds out of your day to take and find a solution. Again, there are great programs that are out there who, running or not, they may be able to direct you to the solution for this individual. We've got 8 programs on the screen right now that can do that. Project Die Hard is will I just got the word from Brian that he's going to be able to join us after 5 o'clock Eastern. But Project Die Hard, it's a program that's still growing, that's still trying to get everything it needs in order to continue. One of the damnedest things about nonprofits is a lot of times the individuals who they start it because they know there's that need. They know that they have to do this. They know what they're doing can bring relief and aid to people. And they fight and scratch and claw. Brian told me the other day about he and his family have been giving it all every month, not just work wise, financially, emotionally, because they're doing their best to try to find their way in this world. They're trying to run a program that is one of the best programs for them, for veterans. As I mentioned before, they're doing something very unique because they're adding the aspect of bringing in 2 families. There's not a lot of people that will support the family from the ground up. One of the things that Brian told me multiple times is how, uh, you know, every time he came back from deployment, his wife was introduced to a new husband because every time he went in, he came out a little bit different. That right there tells you one of the reasons why we have this problem. Because every time we go in, something changes. And when that changes, we have to get used to it as a public, as a society. They gave up their time, they gave up their lives. We should respect them enough to change for them. Bless you, dog. Shouldn't have to be the other way around. Um, I don't need a co-host. Thank you. Get down, get down. Yeah, I'm talking, so all of a sudden my 2 co-hosts are coming in and thinking that they have to be part of the show. So, uh, jokers. So, but what can we do to make things easier for people? Well, again, there are 5 things that are without a doubt huge, huge issues for those who are coming out. The first is depression, um, or mental instability. If you see someone, contact someone, your local mental health providers. Little uh, changes in people's health can cause huge, huge problem. So if you see somebody who's, starting to swing into a danger place, we need to make sure that we contact someone. I was reading in the report earlier, and I was talking to you guys about how uh, firearms are unfortunately one of the highest, or is the highest reason or method used of suicide. You've got to you got to talk to people. You got to talk to someone else. You got to get them to talk to somebody else. If you don't know what to say, that's one easy way to do it. You call your local people and you say, "Hey, look, I've got somebody who doesn't want to talk to anybody else. I'm willing to talk to them, but I don't know what the hell to say." They're going to help direct that conversation. Okay, but you can't just take and woohoo. We're going to try it again. Hello, Susan.
Hello. This is so painful. I am so sorry.
Hey, it looks like you moved back to your office though.
At the office. So,
Yeah, we'll try it again.
okay.
Um, but we're being joined again by Susan Ahern. And hopefully the internet will be working, and we can continue our story. Susan, we left off when I asked you the question: what do we do when skeptics come to you and say, "You're full of hooey," even
Right.
though it seems to be working for the person who you're trying to help?
Right. It's at everybody's pace and everybody's time. Like if they're not ready for it, it's not going to happen. And so I would just say it's okay. Usually, I mean, everything that we're fear based. So if we're limited by that lack of ability to move forward, to try new things, to experience new cultures and new people, it's probably not going to work for you until you get over that. But if you're willing to be open and to experience something new, then yeah, totally, it's going to help you. And it's okay. It's not personal. I'm not offended that somebody doesn't want to try it. Um, and then the door's always open. When you're ready, just give me a call.
Yeah, see, the one thing that, ridicule of somebody else when we're trying to help somebody, and like I said before, I sat right here and I felt better when Chad and Madeline were doing their thing, and it was a little kooky for me. I'm like going, I don't know what's going on, but I was feeling better.
Right.
Again, I didn't know, placebo effect, whatever it was.
Right. Right. And I would say, does it matter? It really doesn't matter where it's coming from, as long as you're feeling some benefits from whatever modality you're choosing, whether it's, whatever it is. If it's working for you, then go with it. I would run with that. And don't analyze it. Sometimes our brains get in the way. Our monkey minds just, ruin everything. So,
It, it does get kind of weird when that happens, right? When you try to overthink things and you're like going, damn it, now I'm even more confused because I tried to think about something that I'm just not. It's not my realm to think about.
Right, right, exactly, exactly.
So we were losing you when I asked what are some of the other things that you're specializing in to try to help people feel better.
Sure. So, because I've got a scientific brain, I need to know where things are coming from and how it originates. That's kind of how my mind works. Um, so, I went to school in California, Globe Institute, and we have practitioners all over the world. So if at some point you're looking for somebody and you're not in Massachusetts, they can totally find other practitioners in your area, which is awesome. That's why I love this. We work through Johns Hopkins Hospital. We do vibroacoustic therapy there. And what it is, it's this technology that captures independent frequencies. We translate it and we sort it out, and it gives us an accurate indication of what your physical function is doing. So, what your spleen is telling us, what your heart is telling me, how well does your liver function, where and how does your stress land in your body, what organ is taking that up, and all of those things are really important to a natural energetic flow of your body.
So when you have names like Johns Hopkins behind you,
Hmm.
there's starting to become some legitimacy here. I mean, this is something that maybe we finally got people who are sitting there going, "Hey, you know what? This isn't witchcraft. Um, this isn't BS."
Right, that's the exciting part of it, is that science is now coming around to say, okay, well, I guess there is something to it. We know that to break down a kidney stone, if you've ever had one, it's horribly painful. It's an awful experience. But
Yes.
and so, but what we've found is that if they use vibration to break up that stone and dissolve the stone, then it helps you immensely. And so that's vibration. So we can go, oh, well, that works. I get that. That works. So we're doing baby steps to kind of integrate into how vibration works. When you use like a back massager, what is that? That's vibration. It's working through the muscle. So what else can vibration do? And we know that everything in the universe functions through sound vibration. We know that the universe is. So why can't our bodies? We see the effects of vibration through water, the ripples in water. So ta-da, exactly, dude. Exactly.
Yeah, my son from Oklahoma, Adrian's boy brought in his and showed Adrian what it'll do. And one day later, I had one in the mail because she sat there and put it on my back, and I just kind of went, whoa. And I'm a guy who I've had syringes snap in my neck because the muscle is so tense.
Mm-hmm.
But um, what, Susan, what is the first thing that you say to somebody when they come in and they're a little bit skeptical on what's going on? How do you tell them how do you study them and say this is what we're going to do first before we even get started? What's the first thing you ask them to do?
So what I would do is I will ask you, I'm going to give you a microphone and I'm just going to have you speak to me. We're going to just have a normal conversation. And as we do that, the program that is, that we're plugged into and you were using that day will give me a graph of your voice and your organs and what's happening. And it's going to show me where we need to focus, the high points, and the low points. It's going to give us that opportunity to look at that. And within that, I would then, it's going to tell me what frequency. And this is it. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to not believe it. You're just talking. You're just giving me information that I can calculate. And then with that, um, we kind of know what your body's doing, and that's the important part. And then we would go from there. So then what I would give you would be notes, certain things that if you're we're going to go back to liver. If your liver isn't functioning properly, there's a whole bunch of other things that are going to be happening to your physical body that it's going to affect. So you may have problems with digestion. You may have problems with, your whole system. It could even trickle down, and if it's been long enough, it's going to cause problems with your colon. And like, we're going to just keep going. And so if I can make that simpler for you. Usually people come in with a situation, and I will then look at it and then try to talk about appropriate nutrition. What's causing your liver not to feel happy? We have to just kind of go with that. And
Linda, yeah, Linda Judd is asking us, what is this method called?
it's vibroacoustic therapy. And this app that I have, not everybody has this, but it's called Voice Bio. And that we can do right over the phone. I can do it anywhere. You can be anywhere as long as we have a good connection. Um, we, can, we can do it. And yeah, it's just very simple. And so then, and I thought when we talked last, I thought it was perfect. I was going to kind of use you if you don't mind. What is the music that you like to listen to?
Oh, me? I love to listen to metal. So
Right. Okay. So this is perfect. Metal, and I love it. I love all types of music. But if you listen to anything outside of normal balance, so what is normal balance? It just means that if that's all you listen to and you don't listen to anything else, then um, heavy metal kind of has a chaotic um, uh, what is the word I'm looking for? Shoot. It has a destructive resonance to it. Is more the word, and that a destructive resonance is sound that can like shatter glass or blow up something. That's destructive resonance. And so listening to too much of that can cause your body to be out of balance. So I would love to offer this to you so that you could have a treatment and we could figure out what in your body and how your body is resonating. And then we do it after listening, having you listening to heavy metal. Then I would do your body bio again. And you're going to see what that frequency does, that resonance does to your body. Really interesting.
it is. It's when you say that, it's so funny because there are certain types, like, one of my favorite bands is a band called Amon Amarth. Okay, it's a Viking metal.
Oh, that's cool.
Very exactly what you just said. Very violent, destructive,
Yeah.
a lot of mead drinking and pillaging and
Well,
you know
intensity.
yeah, intensity. That's a great way to put it. One of
Hmm.
my favorite things to listen to. And I can sit here and listen to it and then just all of a sudden go, ah, because it's one of those things that I get to let my aggressions come through my ear hole.
Hmm.
I've only got one ear that's good, so I just say ear hole instead of holes. But you know, and so I do. I let that go through. But yeah, and because of what it is, I'm able to do that. Yeah, and when I'm in the car and we're listening to like country music, I've gotten to like some of it, but I don't get that same,
Hmm.
and too much of it. I have the exact opposite. I start going, if I hear another song about tequila, I'm going to hurt somebody. So, and it's just,
Hmm.
it's one of those things. I can't wait until we do this. So, Linda was asking vibroacoustic therapy.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
so
And you
I
could
hope.
look at, there's a lot of people that I went to class with that are in the Colorado area. So you could go to Globe Institute and look that up. That's a website. They're out of California, but they have a storefront there as well. I wish I lived closer because I would be in that store all the time. They're always having, different um, musicals, whatnots happening over there. It's kind of cool, little hub. But Globe Institute, and you can find a practitioner in your area that has this, if that's
Do
helpful.
you
But
do you have to have any type of a license or anything to do what you do, or is it? Because I know that Adrian's doing some study to get a certificate, but I
right.
don't know if it's an actual license. Is it?
It's not a license. I went, to school for a year. I am certified. But I'm noticing like over in 2 weekends, you can get a certification. And I'm like, what? So I would ask, um, well, see, because they don't, the government doesn't want to acknowledge that it's an entity yet. And if it's not an entity, then they can't license it. So if they don't believe in it, then you can't license something you don't believe in. So it's that gray area. So I'm okay with no license, but I would definitely ask if you're going to a crystal bowl session or a Tibetan bowl session. Um, uh, you can do some harm if you don't know what you're doing. So I would ask, oh, where did you get your certificate? Oh, I'm not certified. Oh, okay. I wouldn't go. It's so through vibration, you can cause a lot of damage. So we were seeing that it was speculational theory that during most of the riots, you saw an intensity of violent disturbance in the people that were there. And our question was, in a scientific level, is the government or is a group or organization putting out a vibration that can create people to get angry, that can create violent energy to rise, and we know it can happen. And I was wondering, okay, well, you saw that, and if the government knows that that's possible, which they do, then why are they not? We could totally have stopped the violence by playing a vibration that is calming, soothing, and tranquil and healing. They didn't do that. you know they just brought pallets of bricks. You know what I mean? Like we there are ways to stop this. We're
I
just
love I love the way that you put that. Why? And Linda's question for you is,
oh yeah.
or statement, sorry, is this is amazing. I've been researching frequency. I've been looking for a way to read frequency.
Hmm.
Uh, do you have a suggestion for her?
Oh yeah. Once again, go back to Globe Institute. I researched them, and they are the top leading um, the institution of learning that delivers this exactly. And because they are a part of John Hopkins. They also do Montessori school. We also have a program where we can go into the schools and teach this at the beginning levels to children so that they learn how to balance their energy. I mean, if we can start there, we won't have any more war, we won't have any more problems.
Why, getting back to what we were saying, why are we so quick to discount chiropractors, healing energy workers, stuff
Right.
like that, when traditional doctors, this is their
Their
this
go
is their healing.
right. Because they can
Yeah,
control. It's a
yeah.
control. They don't want to be out of control. The government doesn't want to be out of control. They want to be able to regulate it, and you can't regulate that. It's something you can't regulate. Joy, love, and peace, you can't regulate that. So they're not going to vote for that ever.
Oh my God, I would hate to see us all getting along to where, uh,
Right.
to where stuff doesn't hurt anymore. That's what a ridiculous concept. So,
Isn't sad. So yeah, so I love to get the opportunity to talk about this. People want to hear my other side to, talking to ghosts and entities and running around and capturing all of that scientific information to prove that that's real. Um, but this is where it's at. This is the cutting edge in healing. I love there's a gentleman that I follow, Gary Malkin, Malkin, and he's the leader of Wisdom of the World Wellness. Now he's worked in on Hollywood in the best of the movies. He's a musician, and they did studies on red blood. They took your blood and put it in a test tube, and they put it in a machine and it listened to music, soothing, calming music, not your music, soothing, calming music for 20 minutes. They took it out, and they tested it again, and the blood was full of oxygen. It was now red and healthy and bright versus a dark red blood. So it's telling you, and they did nothing to it. There was no chemicals added, just the sound of beautiful music. And they realized that to be healthier, to have your blood healthier, it's best to listen to most almost like the beat of your heartbeat, of that boom, 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 boom. That is optimal. Not crazy, I'm sorry to say. But there's reasons why you like that. There's reasons why you like that music. And I'm not going to analyze that on this, but
You don't want to tell people how batshit crazy I am, is what you're saying.
well, it goes back to trauma. Our bodies experience, and I don't really like that word, but it's the best for right now to use, is that our body went through a trauma, some type of trauma, whether it be a car accident, whether it be an explosion, whether it had been an emotional trauma. Um, that intensity changes us on a cellular level. If you think of a car accident, you've not only got the impact, but you've got the sound that just goes through, and it not only goes through what you're going through because everybody else feels it around you. It sound just penetrates, and it doesn't just affect you. But the reason why one would be attracted to that intensity of heavy metal sound is that it's just repeating what's comfortable and what feels safe. And chaos, if you have chaos long enough and you've been in a lot of chaos, it represents chaos. So when we don't have enough chaos, we go looking for it on the radio dial and we play it. And then you get this, okay, because you're controlling the chaos versus the unpredictable chaos that you experienced. And so that's why heavy metal somehow in your brain goes, okay, this is controlled chaos. I can do this. I feel better.
I this is just I mean it's fascinating because again, I come from a family where addiction is very
Mm.
prevalent.
Mhm.
Um we have to be very careful on everything that we do because of that. And unfortunately, injuries are very prevalent in my family too. I I keep telling people that we ought to have our own wing at every hospital in northern Colorado because we've all spent time. My one motorcycle accident, I was in three of the four hospitals in between Loveland and here.
Wow.
And
Right.
the only reason why I didn't go to the other one is because, well, I it wasn't built yet. So just to say, um, but it's amazing to me that we are so quick to discount philosophies and things like what you do
Mhm.
and others do because it does work. There's science behind it. Okay. And the mind is a wonderfully powerful thing. And if you, and I'm not going to use the word think here, if you know it's working for you, damn people who say anything different. Tell them, hey, you know what? You don't think it's going to not work? You think it's not going to work for you? Jog on. Jog. Don't do it for you. But
Right.
damn it, it works for me, and I'm not going to let you talk me out of doing it.
Right. And it gives us that healthy opportunity for conversation. We don't all have to agree. And in a healthy conversation, maybe they have something I'm not aware of. But I would love sharing this. I love talking to people about this because if I can, just through sound for a cancer patient, help your blood and thicken the walls so that they're stronger and less, more resistant, and it's more oxygenated for someone who can't breathe or a heart attack after a heart attack. They should not be listening to heavy metal. They should be controlling their environment by beautiful sound, and um, and that's what's helpful for them, um, as well as if you don't want to add any more chaos if you're already not in a well supported environment emotionally, right? But there's a reason why you're going back to the chaos. And so my question would be, well, can we stop that? And the answer is yes, we can stop the.
No. Ah, great. I got a phone ringing. That's,
Talk about chaos.
yeah, and that's a chaotic ring right there, let me tell you. So,
Do you need to
but
get?
yeah, I'm going to grab this real quick so we don't have to hear it.
Yeah, no. So there is a way to stop that. Well, we can't really stop the chaos in our environment and our world. We can remove ourselves from it, but we can't. We can choose to react to the chaos differently, and so that's what this vibration, the vibroacoustic therapy, helps us do. It trains you to need or to not to need to desire soothing environment versus chaos. And so it's just trained. It's you would just train yourself that listening to that music at one point in time made you feel better. You associated it with healing, so now that's your go-to. I can also then suggest you to listen to other things, and then imprint that this is making you better. Your brain goes, oh, you know what, this makes me feel a lot better. Maybe it's not country, but I'm going to give you something else that does make you feel better. And that's going to be your go-to. And you just put that in, and then we can silence the chaos. And once you silence that chaos, you're less likely to want to be around it. You're less likely to not want to have chaotic friends, have chaotic workers, coworkers, and it removes that from your family environment too, because we lead by example. So if I can kind of spread this out a little bit, like confetti, then maybe it lands and maybe it doesn't. But yeah, it's an amazing way of living, and it changed me completely because after a whole year of doing nothing but vibration every single day for a whole year, my whole life changed. It was amazing.
Um, Again, you're amazing to me because you left the comfort of your own home to come and join us today. So, go to your office to join us. So, I thank you so very much for doing that. That's going above and beyond. Um, okay. Let's see here. Linda is back. She's asking, her doctors adopting the method of treatment, this method of treatment.
Yes, they are. They're starting to. Um, it's we're trying to now kind of get it into the other hospitals that can pick this up as well. They're starting to, and then COVID hit, so we did a backslide. Their hospitals are the least healthy places right now. They're exhausted emotionally and physically. They're understaffed. They're underpaid. So it's going to take some time for them to. They don't have the patience to adapt something new that they really don't believe in at the moment. So yeah, but they are starting. They definitely are starting, which is nice.
Is there kind of one of those, there's always been the debate about, for a doctor, is it compared to like a scientist in religion, doctors and this naturopathic healing?
Mhm.
Is there the resistance that's very similar? Hey, I cannot be a Christian because I am a scientist. Look, there's science which tells us what happened, or there's religion which is stories about what happened. Is there somewhat the resistance there between some doctors and that's the in the same? I hope that kind of made sense. I
Yeah.
hope it made a hell of a lot more sense in your ears than it did in my mind, because it started out really good, but then that shiny damn squirrel ran in front of me and took it off running somewhere else. So
um, I totally understand where you're coming from because that's how I speak. I speak squirrel too. Um, um, the it's all about ego based. If you have a
it,
doctor that thinks that they know everything and they're not about to listen to the patient, because each and every one of us is different, so there's no room for ego in this type of line of work, like, because everybody is different. So I'm never going to know everything, and I am so excited to learn something new. I love when I get stumped because it makes me stop and I get to go, okay, what is this? um I was amazed. I was able, we did a friend of mine, her dad was dying of cancer, and he was, while he could speak and had enough energy, he was willing to go on the machine for me. And it was amazing to see what healthy life force is and what end of life force looks like. And so it was such a it was such an experience to be able to see that, the difference of that. So when I come across someone that has very low life force, I need to sit there and we take, that very seriously. And um and for him it wasn't about changing anything, because he just needed to be comfortable. He needed to be listened to, and and time. That was what he needed. But it was it's just it's amazing. So how what we did was we set him up with notes and sounds that he could listen to, that anybody can listen to. I will look up a song that you like that's in the certain key of, A, C, F. It goes through, the 12 notes, and and you can listen to anything. If you're deficient in C, I'm going to say, okay, listen to this song that has a lot of C in it, and give you opportunities to see, oh, okay, this makes sense.
it's just amazing. Linda, one more time, she says distinguishing between reacting and responding seems to be more talked about than in the paranormal community, more so than larger community. So the more we keep that conversation going, the larger the community is going to change.
Correct, Linda. Exactly. I love that. Thank you for all your sharing, because yeah, these are great questions.
Yeah,
Yeah, we need to just, this is where it needs to happen. And thank you, Zach, for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit about this. And so the next time you see, a crystal bowl, they call them sound bath healings, or just go into a sound bath and try it. They're usually not expensive, 25, 35, depending on where you live. You go in and you can experience something really amazing. And once again, just make sure that you're going to somebody that's certified, that is does have some background. They are pushing it out, that anybody can bang on something, and that's not necessarily true. Like, I could make sound that's going to make your heart rate go up, and that's not good for someone who is heart issues, right? So we don't want to raise anybody's blood pressure. I want you to feel better when you leave and not worse. So,
well, I want to ask you one more question before we have to separate.
yep.
Um, and this question is tied into what we're trying to do. Susan, if I were to approach you and I were to say, I have somebody who's contemplating on taking their own life,
Hmm.
um, what what would be your suggestion to them?
I would say um, that asking for help is an act of courage. It is the ultimate act of courage, and that it's okay. We need to be able to find the permission within ourselves to ask for that help. And that's scary. That's a scary place to be. So pick that one person, just one person that you can reach out to. We've got plenty of numbers. We've got plenty. Now we've got other alternative sources for you to be able to speak to, and that you're loved, and um, and that's key. That's key right there. Baby steps, nothing big, just baby steps.
I again, I'm astonished at everything that you brought to the show, and I appreciate everything that you've brought to the show. I want to thank you again for going out of your way to come back and join us. Um, this is just it's amazing to learn about this. I'm glad that we were able to allow you to get this part of your life out, because, like I said, we do focus a lot on Sean's show. We focus on the other side of what you do.
Hmm.
It's entertaining, but this is life changing.
This is life changing, and this is truly my passion. And if I can just sit with one person and share that with one person, because we've all have a story, and at some point through this, our story gets we just let go of our story. No one cares. Like, it doesn't matter, because that's where the traumas hold. We hold on to that trauma, and if you can let go of your story and just live today in the present, in this moment, that's beautiful. And thank you so much. And thank you, Linda, and everybody else that was listening. And please, I am available. You can always reach out to me, capecodhappymedium.com. You can leave me a message. And I would love to be that one person you reach out to.
Um, Again, Susan, thank you very much. Linda, uh, coming up probably on Friday, because I might be asleep tomorrow.
I hope so.
But coming up in the next couple days, you're going to be able to find this entire interview on the segment 4 option on the website. It's going to be right there, so you're going to be able to watch it. You're going to be able to watch everything that we've done uh, by 2-hour segments. The way we're doing this is so we can continue to share this throughout the year when people need to be reminded about everything that's out there. And so, again, Susan, thank you for your service as a hero. Thank you for going through what you went through so you can come out and you can help us go through what we go through. Um, I, I love you dearly. I cannot wait until you and I can work personally on this so we can speak more about it. I will get you introduced to Chad and Madeline, because I think that you guys are so interconnected, and I think it'll do some great. Sleeping is good. Yes. Hey, Stephanie's back. So, but yes. So let's make sure that we get this back on and we talk about it a little bit more. But thank you, Susan,
That's
for
great.
taking that
All right.
extra step.
All right. Take care. Love you all.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. So it's time to change the segment again. And when we come back, we're going to have a recording with Wesley Ma from Help Ops. Let me try this again. Help Op X, and they're a business to business program that's going to help your business stay afloat. They're helping us put on this show. So what we're going to do is we're going to end this broadcast, but all you got to do, scroll up from wherever you're watching, and you'll be able to start watching the next segment. We're doing this again so we can make sure we can fit them all in and we can replay everything that we got. So just keep watching. We're going to be right back. Thank you.